All right, guys. So am I audible to all of you? Is the voice is loud and clear? Yes. So, all right. Okay, fine. Thank you, guys. So I'm sorry, guys, for yesterday. We had to stop in between. I had an emergency. I got a call, so I had to go. So sorry for that. Where we stopped, I think the eighth slide, right? So here is where we actually stopped. So what we can do is we can continue from the next slide. Okay. So let's get started with anthropology's comprehensive methodology. Okay. So that's the next slide is all about. So if you see, anthropologist uses a range of methods to study human. There will be field work, which is going to be the most important one. Okay. And in that also participant observation is very important. We discussed this, that the immersive methods, right? So the researcher go to the place where he want to conduct the research, and he get himself immersed into the society, and then he conduct the research. So through this immersive method, like participant observation, anthropologists basically live among the people they study, participate in their daily activities to gain deeper understanding of their culture. So getting direct touch with the members of the society that they are going to study, they will get deeper understanding of the culture. Okay, so this method provides a first-hand experience actually, and first-hand perspective, and that's the best of the knowledge that you can ever produce, and which allow the anthropologist to study not just what people do, but why they do that also. Okay, right? So when you are getting immersed into them, and when you become part of them, so you will not only learn what they do, you will also learn why they do and how they do. All these will be very clear. So this immersive research method is what sets anthropology apart from other disciplines, and this offer detailed qualitative insights into human behavior and social practices. So, which is the most important method that we follow in anthropology for the research? It is a participant observation, and this immersive method actually give you deeper insights into culture, into the activities they perform, and not only what they do, why they do that, and how they do that, and all these ideas you will get in a much deeper way. So this approach is very significant, and this is what makes anthropology stands apart or distinct from other social sciences. Okay, now let's move on to Marvin Harris, cultural materialism. Okay, so Marvin Harris is known for his contribution to cultural materialism. That's a theory that emphasizes the material conditions of a society, its environment, technology, and economic practices as key to understand its cultural system. So all these are actually connected in this, and we will be discussing this in detail in the coming session also. So he basically tried to emphasize the material conditions of society, the environment and the technology, the economic practices, all combined together in understanding the cultural system. And according to Harris, the way humans interact with their material environment plays a fundamental role in shaping their social structures and cultural belief. So it's all about the way humans interact with the material environment that shapes the social structure and the cultural beliefs, according to Harris. And this perspective basically highlights the interconnectedness of material and cultural factors, how the material factors and cultural factors are connected. And that shows anthropology is not just about studying traditional or traditions or beliefs, but also about understanding the material realities that shapes human life. So it's not about the study of only culture, or it's not about the study of only traditions or beliefs. It also connects things with material realities that shapes human life, according to Harris. So that's another dimension. So we are defining the scope, right? So now moving on to Aristotle. Right. Okay. So guys, any questions? I told you already, we can keep Q&A towards the end. Let me complete this so that we get a understanding of everything. And then see, I told you, I'm here for another 1 hour also once we complete the session. For the session, we hardly take 50 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes. 30 minutes, I guarantee you that I'll be staying with you after that. And then if more and more questions are there, then we can extend that to any time also. I absolutely have no issue. We will be staying together till you complete this process also. So don't worry about that. Anyway, So let's look into the Aristotle definition. So a Greek philosopher, you know about Aristotle, you might have studied that in your ethics paper also, or you will be studying in your ethics paper anyway. So he describes sociology, again comes sociology, sorry. He described anthropology as gossip about men. Okay, so this might seem like a simplistic or even dismissive definition, but it reflects an important aspect of the field of anthropology. And this anthropology is deeply concerned with understanding human behavior. So when we talk about gossip about man, you are basically trying to understand the human behavior. What normally you gossip? The behavior of another person, right? That's what you mean by gossip, right? How what other person do and how he behave or how she behave. That's how that's what actually this means, right? So when you say gossip about men, which inherently means understanding human behavior. Okay, so by observing and discussing the actions, beliefs, and customs of people, anthropologists aim to uncover the underlying structures that govern society. So, what the anthropologists do, they observe and discuss the actions which is done by the humans, beliefs, the customs which they follow, right? And through these, they will try to understand the structure that govern the societies. So in this sense, what you can consider, anthropology is about more than just studying people. It's about interpreting social, cultural, and behavioral patterns that define human life. So again and again, I'm talking about the same point only, that this is not, studying one dimension. It is multi-dimension and holistic approach, integrated approach. It's not only about studying people or human behavior. It also study how it's shaped and what are the reasons for that, like social aspect, the cultural aspect, the behavioral pattern. All these define ultimately the human life. Okay, so that's why I told you this subject is totally different than biology, which study only biological aspect, or psychology or philosophy, or even to an extent sociology also. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, Immanuel Kant. Again, guys, you will be looking into, when you look into ethics also, you will be studying about this, but in a different way. Okay, so pragmatic view of Immanuel Kant of anthropology. So basically, Immanuel Kant in his book Anthropology from Pragmatic Point of View offered a different perspective. And he defined anthropology as a study of animal origins. Just write in quotes, he defined anthropology as a study of animal origins and the social and cultural development of humankind. So what are the keywords here? Animal origins and the social and cultural development of humankind. Okay, so this, see guys, certain words or sentences must be there in your answer, especially when you're writing the scope of anthropology. You cannot afford to miss this person, and when you're writing this person, the book name is a must. Okay, so defining anthropology, how? As a study of animal origins and the social and cultural development of humankind. Which book? That book name also you need to mention in his book Anthropology from Pragmatic Point of View. So how he defined anthropology, in which book he defined. So when you write the answer according to Immanuel Kant, or Immanuel Kant defined anthropology in his book Anthropology from Pragmatic Point of View, he gave a different perspective or understanding of anthropology, that as a study of animal origin and the social and cultural development of humankind. So if you look at this definition, it bridges the biological and cultural aspect of human evolution and recognize that anthropology must account both. So biological aspect and the cultural aspect, right? So here you can see animal origins and the social cultural development. Both are taken into consideration. So you will be seeing that animal origin and also the social cultural development. I have missed out the name of the book here, but I'll be giving you that in the PDF anyway. You'll be getting the PDF, the toolkit. It is in that materials, everything is there, guys. So in case if I'm missing something in the slide, that is actually covered over there. Okay. So what I'm talking about is, it's not only about biological aspect, also the cultural aspect of human evolution is considered, recognizing that anthropology must account for both. cultural, and biological. So effectively or essentially, if you look into all these, what we are saying ultimately, it is like multidimensional. It is like integrated. It is like holistic understanding compared to any other subject which exists at this point of time. So his approach basically emphasized the importance of understanding human behavior as both a product of our biological nature and our cultural environment. So biological nature plus the environment in which you live, that shapes the human being. So biological nature plus the cultural environment. So this dual focus is what makes anthropology a truly interdisciplinary field. Guys, these are the keywords. Again, I'm repeating: multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary or integrated approach or the holistic approach, multidimensional approach. Okay, biological, cultural, social, behavioral, all these aspects are connected. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. We'll move slightly faster because if possible, we will be trying to cover one more topic after this. Okay, so let's see the next slide, the historical development. Okay, now anthropology is relatively a young discipline. Okay, and that's an advantage also. If you see history have a long root, right? And if you have taken history as the optional, how much you need to learn and understand the entire Indian history, world history. But that's not the case with anthropology. This is a very young discipline and emerging in the late 19th century. But the study of humanity, what we now call anthropology, has ancient roots, right? So you trace back things to the ancient roots, and philosophers like Aristotle, Kant, as well as various other colonial administrators. If you see many colonial administrators and British scholars also were the initial. They have done a lot of research. I will be talking about that also. They all contributed to the early development of anthropological thought. Okay, so over a period of time, anthropology become more systematic as scholars develop theories and methods for studying human societies. So it's a relatively young discipline, but it has its root if you look into the ancient part also. So there are a lot of contribution from the thinkers. They have made the theories and formulated the methods for the research purpose and everything. So over a period of time, it got systematic. And today, anthropology is a well-established discipline that combines elements of history, biology, sociology, and psychology also, and it offers a comprehensive understanding of human life. So if you see what we discussed so far is the same, that it have a multi-dimensional root, right? It combines, biology because it studies biological behavior, and sociology because you can see cultural part also integrated in that, and history. Okay, and then psychology. All these are connected. Now, what's the next slide? Let's move on to the next slide. The scope over a period of time. So I told you this in the beginning itself, that is broadening. One of the defining feature of anthropology is that it studies human across all times. Okay, all times, all space. So spatially, across the world, all the time. Okay, and this means that anthropology are not just interested in the present. They also study ancient civilization, tracing the development of human societies over millennia. Okay, so ancient civilization also you will be studying and going. I told you just previous slide itself, there are ancient roots. So by looking at how human lived in the past, anthropology gain insight into how societies change and evolve over a period of time. So looking at the past, okay, and then they try to get the insight from that, and then they try to understand, interpret how societies change and evolve over a period of time. And this long-term perspective is essential for understanding the complexity of human life. Though a relatively young discipline and everything I told you, but if you need to understand the present, you need to have a very good understanding about the past. If you need to talk about the future, you need to know about the present, right? So that's how it is connected, and anthropology study that. So understanding the complexity of human life, you definitely have to understand the roots, which is the past. And it allows anthropologists to see patterns in how societies adapt to their environments and how cultural practices develop over a time. So when you're studying the past or from the ancient times, it actually helps you to understand the patterns, certain patterns, and how societies evolve over a period of time, and how they adapt to a particular environment, and how certain cultural practices developed over a period of time. Okay, so that's how it is done. Now let's move on to the next slide, anthropology global scope. Okay. So, in addition to studying human across time, anthropology also looks at human societies across space. I told you, not only time, all the time, all area across the world, across the space. So anthropology study people from every part of the world, whether they live in a small isolated communities or large urban or cosmopolitan cities. So this global perspective is crucial for understanding the diversity of human life. By studying different societies, anthropologists can see how cultural practices vary and how humans adapt to different environments. Perfect. So, this global approach allows anthropology to offer a comprehensive understanding of humanity, which highlight both the similarities and differences between human societies across the length and breadth or across the world. So, you're studying across the time, you're studying across the space, so which actually eventually helps the anthropologist to offer a comprehensive understanding of humanity, which highlight both the similarities and differences between human societies here to there, right? South India to North India, or India to other country, or Asia to the other continent. So that's how, and it is done. So let's move on to the next one, holistic nature. Okay, so what to say here? Anthropology is unique that it looks human beings holistically. This is what we have discussed so far. That means it is having an integrated approach, and multi-dimensional view is what we are taking into consideration. So anthropology study all aspect of human life, which means biological, cultural, linguistic, archaeological, and not just one area. Okay, for example, if you see a sociologist, okay, a sociologist might study a social structure and relationship, but an anthropologist will study these structures in relation to cultural practices, not only cultural practices, the biological traits, not only the biological traits, and the linguistic patterns also. So you see that. So anthropologist will study the structure in relation to how culture helped in the emergence of that structure, or the biological traits or the linguistic patterns, all are interconnected. So this integrated approach allows anthropology to provide a more complete picture of human life. So when you are having a multi-dimensional understanding of anything, that give you the holistic picture. So that give you the complete picture of human life, and which shows how various aspects of humanity are interconnected and influence each other. Culture affect the structure, structure affect the culture also, and structure affect the linguistic pattern affect the structure, biological trait affect the structure, biological trait affect the culture. So all these are interconnected and not separate. So if you're studying separately, these are partial understanding of reality. Okay, but anthropology, it's a complete understanding of reality. It's a holistic view, multidimensional approach. So the comprehensive study of humanity, that's the next slide. Okay. So again, when it comes to anthropology, it is often described as science of humanity, right? And it explores the diversity of human life, from biological differences between population to different cultures, different practices, or the cultural practices that define specific societies. Now, whether you're examining ancient civilization or modern urban communities, anthropologists aim to understand what it means to be human, right? And by studying human societies in all their complexity, anthropology helps us better understand our own behavior, our tradition, and social structure, and the culture. And this comprehensive study of humanity is what make anthropology such a vital field of inquiry. So why it is important, that's what we have discussed over a period of time through the different slides. Okay, let's move on. Evolution of anthropology definition. So over a period of time, you can see the definition of anthropology has evolved to reflect the growing complexity of the field. Early definitions focused primarily on the study of primitive people. But today, anthropology encompasses all human societies, both simple and complex, across the time, across the area, okay, temporal or spatial, every aspect is actually covered. Okay, simple society is studied, complex society is studied, primitive society is studied, modern society is studied, rural society is studied, urban society is studied. Okay, so as anthropology has developed, it has incorporated insights from other disciplines also, including biology. We discussed that, sociology, psychology, and linguistics. So this interdisciplinary nature allows anthropology to offer a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of human life, which shows that human societies are shaped by complex interplay of biological, cultural, and environmental factors. All these are connected, and that's why this approach we follow in anthropology. So what is the approach? Multidimensional approach or integrated approach, right? So the holistic approach. So anthropology is integrated approach. So, if you see, one of the key features of anthropology is its integrated approach to study human beings. Guys, it's just a topic that we are covering, and I'm trying to cover from multiple dimensions so that you will be in a position to write the best answer, taking contents from here and there. Everything can be mixed, okay? And when we discuss the answer writing session, then we will be focusing more into specific aspects. Okay, so we were talking about this. One of the key features of anthropology is its integrated approach to studying human beings. And this means that anthropologists do not study one aspect of humanity in isolation. Instead, they examine how different aspects of human life, such as biology, culture, social structures, interact with each other. So all these dimensions are taken into consideration. Perfect. Now, for example, when studying a particular society, an anthropologist might look at how biological factors like health and nutrition influence social behavior, or how cultural practices shape economic systems. And this integrated approach allows anthropology to provide a more comprehensive understanding of human society. So all these are interconnected, and anthropologists will look into different aspect, biological aspect, cultural aspect, etc., in understanding the human behavior. Okay. So, or the how the system is formulated and everything. When it comes to the field work, we already discussed that immersive approach is more significant as it gives you some qualitative understanding of the phenomena. So that's what I need to discuss here, that importance of field work. So field work is very important and crucial part of anthropology. This actually allow anthropologists to immerse themselves into that communities that they study. And through participant observation, what do you mean by participant observation? You go to the society, you be a member, active member of that society, and try to understand what they do and how they do and why they do that. Okay. So through participant observation, anthropologists live among the people they are studying, participating in their daily activities and observing their behaviors. So when you observe their behaviors and everything over a period of time, you will understand. It take time. That's a disadvantage also. It take effort as well. Okay. So there's a qualitative approach. When it comes to quantitative, you can even send your assistant to collect the data. But that is not possible here. You need to be an expert and you need to go there. You need to study. You need to observe. So this method allows anthropologists to gain a deep first-hand experience and understanding of the culture, language, and social structure of the community. So the fieldwork provide qualitative data that is essential for understanding the complexities of human societies. And this makes it one of the most important tool in anthropological research. So now the next slide is about the study of all societies. Right. So anthropologists study all societies, which we discussed, all time we discussed. Okay. So anthropology is unique and, it studies all human societies. It's not that only modern societies. If you see sociology to an extent, it studies modern societies. Sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe, to study the social change or to study the modern society. And that's not the case with anthropology. It studies the traditional society, the complex society, the simple society, the modern society, the primitive society, or whatever. And okay, so sociology, I told you, which tend to focus on modern industrial society. But anthropology examines the full range of human societies from small, very small isolated communities to large globalized cosmopolitan cities. Right. And this broad scope allow anthropology to offer insight into how different societies organize themselves and how adapt to their environments. and how cultural practices evolve over a period of time. And by studying all societies, anthropology helps us better understand the diversity of human life and the commonalities that unite us, right? And that's how it is done. Now, the next is cultural relativism. Okay. So, cultural relativism is a key concept in anthropology. We discussed it in the previous video also. And it is the idea that we should not judge other culture by the standards of your own culture or our own culture, but instead try to understand them on their own terms. So, what an anthropologist need to do is, when it comes to cultural relativism, you should be in a position to stand yourself in their shoes and understand from their lens. Okay. For example, you may be from an urban area, and we need to understand a social or a cultural dimension from a rural area. You need to go to rural area, but you need to change the mindset that you are from an urban area and your perspective, and you should immerse into that culture. See, if you need to study caste system, a foreigner come to India trying to study caste system, do you think that they are going to get an objective understanding of caste? No, that's not possible because they have never seen this kind of system. So when you come to India, you need to understand the culture of India. You need to understand the context in which the system work. Even Indians cannot understand the caste system and its complexity, right? So forget about the foreigners. So cultural relativism is basically the idea that you should not judge other culture or others in your terms and your standards. Okay, you have to be in their shoes and understand their culture. So that's what all about cultural relativism. So then, and this concept is very crucial for anthropologists because it allows them to study culture without imposing their own biases or judgment. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be personal biases, preconceived notions, okay, and that can affect the research. So this is a very important approach, and if you are adopting this culturally relativistic approach, the anthropologist can basically gain a deeper understanding on how different societies function and why certain cultural practices exist. So if you remember, I told you why participant observation is better. You're not only understanding what is happening, you're also understanding why they are doing this. What is a particular cultural practice is not only what you're trying to understand, why it is happening and how it is done. All these are easy to understand only if you follow this approach, cultural relativistic approach. And if you go there and if you try to be an alien, like your perspective, your bias, and you're seeing them from your own shoe, then it is going to be difficult. Okay. So what we discussed, yeah, can gain a deeper understanding. And cultural relativism helps anthropologists avoid ethnocentrism and the belief that one's own culture is superior to others. So what is ethnocentrism? That is something like you believe that your culture is dominant and superior. So that is what ethnocentrism. So cultural relativism tend to avoid such kind of biases also. Now, anthropology and human evolution. That's the next slide. Okay. Guys, one of the most important areas of study in anthropology is human evolution. Okay. And biological anthropologists study how humans have evolved over a period of time. And they trace the development of our species from early hominins to modern Homo sapiens. Okay. And by examining fossils, genetics, and other evidence, anthropologists can reconstruct the evolutionary history of humans and understand how biological traits have adapted to different environments. And the study of human evolution is crucial for understanding not only our physical traits, but also how our behaviors and social structures have developed over a period of time. So why the study is important? This actually help in understanding not only your physical traits, how you look like this, but also why you behave like this and your social structure, how it has developed over a period of time. Okay. Now, I told you already, anthropology is also connected with psychology. So this is the next slide. Try to understand the behavior, and that's why you can consider there is a psychology element also to it. So anthropology is deeply concerned with the understanding of human psychology or behavior, whether studying hunter-gatherer societies or modern urban communities. Anthropologists seek to understand why people behave the way they do. We discussed the same slide before also. And this focus on behavior sets anthropology apart from other disciplines, as it looks, not just at what people do, but at the cultural, social, and environmental factors that influence their actions also. So basically, what I want to tell you is it's not only about what they are trying to do, how they are doing it, and why they are doing it is also understood and given emphasis when it comes to anthropology. Okay, so by studying human behavior in a holistic and integrated way, anthropology provides valuable insights into how societies function and how cultural practices develop. See, guys, initial lectures, we talk about this, what is anthropology, and I'm trying to make you understand what we do. And then we go on why we do. And then we go on and discuss how we do. Okay. So that's how the cycle goes. And then we will go on to the higher levels also. So the relationship between biology and culture now. Okay. So if you see, one of the central question in anthropology is how biology and culture interact to shape human societies, right? So biological anthropologists study the physical traits of humans, such as genetics, health, nutrition. But if you see cultural anthropologists, they examine how cultural practices influence social structures and behaviors. Okay, so by looking at the relationship between biology and culture, anthropology provides a more complex understanding of human life. So, for example, anthropologists might study how environmental factors like climate influence both biological traits and cultural practices of a particular society. So if you see biological anthropologists, they study the traits of humans, physical traits of humans, such as genetics, health, nutrition, right? So that's what the biological anthropologist will do. Now, cultural anthropologists, they try to focus more on the cultural aspect, cultural practices, which influence social structures and behavior. So if you combine both, that is going to give you a holistic understanding of a particular society and the human being, right? So it also, help how environmental factors like climate also influence both biological traits and cultural practices of a particular society. See, environmental factors have a huge impact on the way you look, the color that you have, the physical traits that you have, and the customs and the practices also which you do. Okay. Now comes to the next slide, different approaches, holistic perspective, methodological approach, qualitative, quantitative. Right, guys, in simple terms, when we talk about qualitative, participant observation is a qualitative approach where you try to get the qualitative data, which is not in terms of numbers. When it comes to quantitative method, these are quantifiable in nature, like questionnaires, yes or no answers. But here, a detailed description in qualitative data, detailed, broad, deeper understanding. Okay, quantitative will be in terms of numbers, which is more suitable in science like physics, chemistry, maths, etc. Okay, so anthropology basically known for its unique methodological approach. And we combine both qualitative and quantitative research method based on the purpose. Qualitative data will give you deeper understanding, and by using quantitative data, you can validate it, okay, and can ensure more validity. Okay, so field work, particularly participant observation, is a cornerstone of anthropological research, and that's the most important method that anthropologists use. And they immerse themselves in the communities they study. Anthropologists, with that, immersive approach, get detailed first-hand data on social practices, cultural beliefs, and human behaviors, on what they do, how they do, why they do certain practices, and everything. So for that, you cannot collect quantitative data and analyze and come an interpretation. Not possible. You need to have an immersive approach to understand that. And this qualitative approach is often complemented by quantitative methods such as surveys and statistical analysis, which allow anthropologists to study larger population and make a comparison between different societies. So you conduct study on certain societies. It is now what is the difficulty part with qualitative approach? It is possible in small area and small society. If you want to extend it, that is very difficult, right? Because the time and effort that you need to spend, that is very huge when it comes to qualitative approach. So if you combine qualitative and quantitative, like surveys and statistical analysis, etc., then you can extend the qualitative approach with the help of those comparisons. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. Human diversity over time. Okay, so anthropology not only studies human diversity in the present, but also looks at how human societies have evolved over time. I told you, evolution you will study, across time you will study, ancient society you will study. Archaeologists and biological anthropologists study the remains of ancient civilization and fossilized evidence to understand how human societies have changed. By examining how humans adapted to different environments and developed new technologies, anthropologists can trace the development of human societies from early hunter-gatherer to modern industrial societies. So they examines how human adapted to different environments and developed new technologies. So they can trace back to the development of human societies from early society to modern industrial civilized societies. Okay, so this long-term perspective basically allow anthropology to provide insight into processes that drive social and cultural change. Now, we're about to finish this lecture, guys, and the application of anthropology. So this we will finish it faster because I want to take one more topic, if possible. Otherwise, after the Q&A, if we have time, otherwise we'll focus on Q&A. Yeah, I can see a lot of questions, but please hold on, guys. Let me complete the session and then I can spend enough and more time. Don't worry about that. Okay. So the application of anthropology. Now, anthropology is not just an academic discipline. It has practical applications in a variety of fields. Applied anthropologists use their knowledge to address real world problems from public health to environmental sustainability. So huge applicabilities there. For example, medical anthropologists study how cultural beliefs influence health behaviors, and that work to improve a healthcare system by making them more culturally sensitive, right? So there are certain cultural beliefs influence the health behaviors. So you need to work upon that, cultural practices, make them cultural sensitive also. There are certain practices which are culturally sensitive. So you need to work upon that and you need to improve the healthcare system for that. So similarly, environmental anthropologists study how human societies interact with their environment and develop strategies for promoting sustainable practices. See, already we practice sustainable, practices. We follow sustainable practices. So environmental anthropologists study how human societies interact with their environment from traditional times to ancient times onwards, right? And how they adapted to it. So that you need to use for sustainable practices. By applying anthropological insight to real world issues, anthropologists can help improve the lives of people around the world. Okay, so that is again another dimension of anthropology. If you come to global perspective, we already discussed this. Anthropology's global perspective is one of its most important contribution to our understanding of human life. So by studying societies from all parts of the world, I told you not only one part, across the world, anthropology provides a comprehensive view of human diversity, right? How diverse the world is. And whether studying a small isolated communities or large cosmopolitan cities, anthropologists seek to understand how people live and how they organize their societies and how they adapt to their environments. So this global perspective is essential for understanding the complexities of human life and for addressing the changes that face our world today. Okay, now let's move on to the concluding part. And after this, Varun, I'll be taking your doubts after this. Okay. So the relevance of anthropology we can discuss in the conclusion. Okay, guys, can anyone conclude the discussion that we had so far? You'll be getting an Amazon voucher. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll conclude and then I'll give you an opportunity, a couple of hand raises there. Okay, you'll get an Amazon voucher for that. If you can conclude properly. Yes, 5 are there now, just because I've told. Now I'm blocking this. So there's 5 people, Varun, Sandhya, Sandosh, Vishnu, and Keshav. Right, so you get ready, all the 5, and you will be summarizing whatever I have discussed in 2 sessions in 2 minutes. Okay, so 10 minutes we'll be spending for that. And one person will get Amazon voucher of 1,000 rupees. Okay, so let me conclude now. Anthropology offers a comprehensive and integrated approach to understanding human life. By studying humans in all their diversity across time, space, and culture, anthropology provides valuable insights into social, cultural, and biological factors that shape human societies. Now, whether studying ancient civilization or modern urban communities, anthropology helps us better understand what it means to human or what it means to be human. So this is what I told again and again. If you can, what anthropology is trying to do is not only understanding what they do, but also why they do that and how they do that. For that, they follow an immersive approach, getting deeper into that. Whatever deeper you can take that understanding, and you'll be doing that. Okay, so its holistic and interdisciplinary approach makes it a vital field for addressing the challenges of the modern world, from public health to environmental sustainability. So this is how you need to write in your conclusion. Summarize this in maximum 20, 25, 20 words, 20, 25 words. That's the max that you can use. So I repeat, anthropology offers a comprehensive and integrated approach to understand human life by studying humans in all their diversity across time, space, and cultures. Anthropology provides a valuable insights into the social, cultural, and biological factors that shape human societies. Whether studying ancient civilization or modern urban community, anthropology helps us better understand what it means to be human. And its holistic and interdisciplinary approach makes it a vital field for addressing the challenges of the modern world, from public health to environmental sustainability also. So that's it, guys. We have done with the second lecture, formally second lecture. In fact, the third lecture, because I had to take a break yesterday. So formally second lecture, and that's the way the slides are prepared. So now 118 lectures left. Okay, now let's go with the Q&A. I'm done with the session. So guys, 10 minutes I'll be spending for this 5 people to conclude, and then another 30 minutes for general Q&A. What I'll do is I'll turn off recording, and yeah, we don't have any other session today. We'll do it tomorrow. Third lecture, we'll do tomorrow. Okay, so let's start with Keshav. Keshav, are you ready?